Hey everybody, we're going to get started here real quick. I wanted to thank you all for coming this afternoon. I want to take a minute to recognize a few special guests. We have Councilmember Jeff McIntosh here, Assistant City Manager Ben Rao also joining us here this afternoon. My name is Robert Mulhern. I am the Venue and Facilities Manager for the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. And just wanted to express how excited we are about professional hockey coming back to Winston-Salem, not only for the city, but also for the fairgrounds and just the entire community. With that being said, I'm going to pass it on to the new ownership group and Mr. Barry Soskin.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you for spending a little bit of your busy schedule with us today. Kind of a exciting move for us. Hockey hasn't been in Winston-Salem for a while. We actually had a neutral site game here a few years back, and it did fairly well. And within the Federal Hockey League, we feel that this is a great time to expand our footprint a little bit and come down south. We've looked at a couple of different markets. We're very happy with what's going on right now. The Federal Hockey League is a single-A professional hockey, not too much different than the Southern Pro that has been down here in the past. We're a developmental league, so we've got players trying to continue their hockey career and their passion and continue on a little bit. And if they don't get a chance to move up, we hope to make them more productive members of society. So when they are out there teaching our children, they teach them the right way and have a certain aura about them when they go about their business. This is all about family entertainment, affordable family entertainment. We're not trying to compete with the NHL. They're about an hour away and you can catch a game, great games. I'm from Chicago. A couple of partners that I have are also from Chicago. We try to see the Hawks as much as we can. It's different, but the caliber of play is great. It's hard-hitting, exciting, fun action where the players are approachable. Scott will be able to tell you a little bit more about that. You'll see me around here probably more than you guys want to, but I do have other teams in the league, and people always ask me, who do I want to win? I want the home team to win all the time. So when you guys see me here, you know I'll be cheering for you. That being said, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Scott Brand. My teammate back in the 80s, and we wound up going in separate directions. I went on to manage and own hockey teams with my wife, and Scott went the referee route. I never understood that, but that's he chose to get yelled at, I guess. And he's been doing this for, he'll tell you a little bit, he's been doing this for quite some time. He's got an idea a minute, and I think he's going to be great for the position and the community. He will be the face of the franchise. I reserve the right to do some things as the owner, but he's the one you're going to be seeing around here all the time. And with that, I'd like to introduce Scott Brand. Big Scott Brand.
It's been a while since I've got applause in hockey. As Barry mentioned, I was an on-ice official. In fact, in this very building, there was a game here where there was an owner who came in our locker room and was armed. So I've had some experience here in Winston-Salem, and that was back in the 80s, I believe. And then I had the opportunity to come to Winston-Salem as a supervisor. I'm very honored to be entrusted with a team here in Winston-Salem. I'm also I'm thrilled about the community. I've been in some I believe great blue-collar, hard-working people communities such as Waterloo, Iowa, and Dubuque, Iowa, and Youngstown, Ohio, and I'm impressed with Winston-Salem. As Barry said, we're going to create an atmosphere of family fun. I'd love to say, hey, come out and just watch hockey. It's going to be a great sport. We know that, as with any sport nowadays, fans are more educated. Fans have to be entertained, and we're going to give you an entertainment. Our hope is you come in, you pay your cover charge, so much is going on. If you get bored, you got something to watch. There's a hockey game going on. So we know that too. You know, the history of hockey in Winston-Salem has gone back a long time, and it's had some very good ownership here. It's had its struggles. Barry and I have looked at the market. We've done our research on it, and really, hockey hasn't failed here because of the city of Winston-Salem. It's probably failed here because of some of the past mistakes that have been made by people who operated teams here. So we are very, very excited about the city and the potential of professional hockey here in Winston-Salem. The name of the team, as you can tell behind us, we've gone back into the history books, and we've been talking with fans, and the name that constantly came up was the Thunderbirds. And so we went online and figured out that the name was available, and so we brought back the Carolina Thunderbirds. So we're proud to announce that our team will be the Carolina Thunderbirds. We want to have the fans involved, though. So hopefully today at 12:30, and I don't know how the computers operate and the Googles and the internets and all that stuff. I'm a hockey player, and as Barry will tell you, I had a little brain damage because I was a sports official. We want the fans to pick the colors, and so we've come up with 4 different color schemes. One which is probably going to resonate with a lot of hockey fans here in the area. I call it the Chicago Blackhawks colors, but that was one of the teams down here. The last team that was down here is colors. And then one of the original jersey ideas that had come out for the Thunderbirds would be the Calgary Flames. The next one, again, excuse my ignorance, I call it the Houston Aero colors. Obviously, that's the color of North Carolina, University of North Carolina. So that's another choice. And then finally, we have the St. Louis Blues colors and this setup there. We want the fans to tell us what they want and the color schemes. So that will go online. We don't have an end date of when that'll end. I would imagine by around Christmas we'll come up with our final color analysis and our breakdown. As Barry said, Barry's been involved with hockey. We played together in a senior league. That's where we first met a long, long time ago. He's been on and been very successful with ownership, particularly with the Toledo Storm and the ECHL, which you all know is another hockey league. He's won several championships. We went to Waterloo together, and in Waterloo we were able to take a team that had about 60 season ticket holders, and by the end we wound up filling the building and being over capacity, despite not winning any championships, I'm reminded. So we think we have something very positive here. In addition, we also work together on a Waterloo Bucks baseball, which is a summer college league. That did extremely well. We broke all kinds of attendance records there. So we think that it's a winning combination in a team here. As Barry said, I've been fortunate or unfortunate enough to be in hockey for over 45 years, I think, now as a player. My last year of juniors, I was asked to no longer play due to the fact, let's just say, I wasn't good for the game of hockey. So if you break the rules, that's the guy who should go enforce them. So I became a minor league hockey referee, and then through there, I've had some stops as a GM and vice president of some other teams too. I won't bore you with that. But I will tell you our plan and our goals. They're very simple. We have to establish a financially sound team and an operating budget. There are other leagues out there. This is a league that's going to fit this market right now, and this is where we feel comfortable. If things go super well, we would absolutely look at attaining the highest league that's possible that the city will support and that we can support. We want to establish a winning and an entertaining product on the ice. It's imperative that we work with a local ice users group. We need to make sure that the game of ice hockey, figure skating, public skating, anything to do with ice grows in the community. Selfishly, that's going to help us. But what's better for the city is if we can get this building filled with kids out there skating and kids out there learning to skate. We will be announcing a couple of those Learn to Skate programs that we are working with the Fair Board on and the city coming up in the year. As Barry mentioned, it's important that we do family affordable entertainment and family affordable events here. We know people work hard for their money, and we got to make sure that they get full value. We've also want to work with the city to improve the building, whether it be hopefully get a little bit air conditioning going in here, and some of the humidity issues that we may reach in May. But we hope with our commitment it will allow Robert and the Fair Board and the city to commit to a long-term investment in some of the other issues that may be. But I will tell you this, is I love this building. This is a good hockey building, and we're going to have a lot of fun in this building. We want to work with the media as close as possible on promotions. We're also looking to broadcast, at least for the first year, our away games on radio. We know that a lot of teams have ditched radio for internet. We're still kind of old school, and we want to make sure that we are partners with the media and also partners with promotions. Our tickets will range between $8 and our high-end ticket, you guys from Chicago don't laugh, is going to be $18, and that's on the glass. So you can get right up on the glass and get a hockey puck smashed in your face for only 18 bucks. And on top of that, the lease we have, we want to thank the city. We want to thank the board, the sports commission. And Robert, did I say that right? Sports
Public Assembly Facilities Commission.
Thank you. The Public Assemblies Facilities Commission. We want to thank them for working with us. This really wasn't a hard negotiation. This was sitting down and figuring out what works for the city and what works for this team and what's going to keep us here and keep us successful. I just want to give you some of the highlights. We have a working agreement for this year that will enable us to start to prepare for 2017-18. It'll also allow us to host 2 games here, which I'll get into later. Beginning in 17-19 season, it's a 2-year lease with an automatic renewal, which safeguards the city from any loss from a hockey team. So we make sure that we safeguard the city. We will have offices here. We'll have a locker room here, and as I said, we have automatic renewals. The fairground, depending on which website and Wikipedia and you look at, we believe we're at about 3,700 tickets, seating capacity, maybe 4,000. We're going to do some changes out there and add some fun zones and some stuff like that we're not at liberty to discuss right now. But as I said, we're very proud to be members of this building. The league we'll be in is the Federal Hockey League. It is now in its 7th season. Has it had some issues in the past? Absolutely. But we think now that it has grown and got through its growing pains, and as Barry mentioned, we anticipate adding some teams, particularly in our footprint, in the next several seasons. The one thing I will tell you is for the sports fans, is the scoring system in the Federal League is that of the Olympics. So what they do is typically play a 56-game schedule. Each game is worth 3 points. If you win in regulation, you'll get 3 points. If you win in overtime or a shootout, you get 2 points. If you lose in overtime or a shootout, you get 1 point. And then that translates into a winning percentage, and it's math. And so I want to apologize to my 6th grade math teacher, who I told I would never use math. At some point, somebody will have to explain to me the standings. As long as we're up top, I guess that's all that matters. Last thing, March 17th and 18th, we're honored that we're going to have 2 games down here. They will be regular season games. It'll be the Danville Dashers and the Port Huron Prowlers. They happen to be 2 other teams that Barry owns, and they will be down here, and we'll get to see some hockey. And that'll launch us into the following season too. I want to reiterate something, is Winston-Salem is an expansion team. Nobody is moving down here. That's not our plan. Our plan, this is our team. We're going to start from scratch. Obviously, Barry will be overseeing it, but for the most part, the mistakes that are made and the things I screw up will be me. So I guess that's the good news and the bad news. So I guess with that,
Open it up to questions.
any questions for anybody?
Yes, I have a question. As far as players, how players are going to be chosen, is there going to be local tryouts? Or are you going to bring other players from
We think, first of all, with our location and the footprint, we're gonna have a lot of working relationships with teams in the Southern Pro League and the ECHL. So we will get that. Obviously, our coach will have connections and players to go get. Yes, we will have an opportunity for anybody who thinks they can play in the league to play. We'll have either a tryout camp here or in conjunction with one of our teams. So the players, once we announce a coach, we'll have a better aspect of who's going to be able to play down here. Yes, sir.
Will ice be available year-round now, or will it still be seasonal as
It'll be seasonal. There's really no reason for us to have it any longer. Our season doesn't start till basically November 1st with our tryout camp or our training camp the third week in October, correct? The third week in October, and then we're done by the second week of April. Being in this market, I think that's a perfect schedule because there's, I think you guys like football down here, like college football, so hopefully you're going to miss some of that. And then that place where they go in the cars, what's that called, NASCAR? So we'll be done before that season swings in too.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Essentially, our general ice skating calendar is October through March, so we'll add 2 or 3 weeks on the end, and then however playoffs work, we'll figure that out.
I hope we have to figure out playoffs.
With the ice skating, you plan on having players hands-on with young kids, teaching them how to, what's the plan for that?
It's very simple, and this is something that came from Barry when he entrusted us running Waterloo, is we have to make inroads with youth hockey, and we have to make inroads with the public to try and get the ice bug in them, if that's such a term. First thing we want to do is we're going to want to offer public skating, free public skating, learn to skate, which it might be on Tuesdays, might be on Wednesdays, but that's something the players will instruct. That's one. Two, and we've had brief conversations with the youth hockey, is we want to have our players assigned to youth hockey teams. So those players, they're not there to coach, they're not there to overstep their boundaries, but they're there to get on the ice and, 5, 6-year-old, I think they're squirts, they might change the name to under 12s now. For them to get to skate with their heroes is a big deal. So that's the type of stuff we want to work with. We also, want to make sure that we can showcase figure skating. I know that that's very important, and we want to make sure that the figure skatings get a chance to possibly skate, during our intermissions. So it's important that we grow that youth hockey base.
You also mentioned the mistakes of past organizations here, which is why you said you think that they failed and you guys can do a better job. What were some of those mistakes that they made, and where are you guys going to pick up on those mistakes and capitalize on them?
When we were doing our due diligence about the market, and I brought this up to the board as well, I didn't feel like it was Winston-Salem. I felt that they were in a league that was maybe too big for them or too expensive for them. Some of the attendance figures that they've gotten here would do well in the Federal Hockey League, yet they didn't do so well in past leagues. I've been kind of keeping my eye on this market since I entered the East Coast Hockey League in 1990, and some of my friends in the league from here, the coach that I wound up with was from here, so I had a little trace to come back here. This league, this market, I feel can support X. If you are in a different league, Y, then those costs, no matter how good you're doing or not doing, you just can't reach those numbers. There are a couple of teams that brought in over $1 million here, yet they lost money. Whose fault is that? I think it's the fault of the owners for being in the wrong league. That's just where I'm at. I believe that if we start right here, we can build a solid foundation, and like Scott said, like I have said in every market that I'm in, and I've been in juniors, I've been in minor pro, I will bring the highest level of product, of play that the town can afford. I don't want to keep having to go into my pocket to do that. If, if we can afford the Southern Pro, fine. If we can afford the East Coast, fine. If we can afford, the AHL, great. The building is going to dictate that, plus the fans. The thing that we bring, or the ownership group brings, is we're fans ourselves. We're hockey nuts. We kind of think we know what you want. And we're going to let you help us, and Scott take the ball and roll with it. If it's successful, we'll be here for a long, long time. If it's not successful, it'll be like another business where an ownership group or owner takes X amount of time, and he's going to give it this much time to make the, to hit that final bump in the road or to turn it around. I've been, Danville, we mentioned Danville will be here. Danville, I believe, was one of the teams that was here a few years ago in the exhibition game. They weren't? Danville, it took me 4 years before I started to see a turnaround. The town is 20,000 people, okay, 2,500 seats. So different market, different building, different expense, but it still took me 4 years. I saw, Fran and I, my wife Fran and I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. We wanted to stick through it, and we're happy that we did. So that's now a successful operation where it took a few years to get there.
I've got people online asking questions like how much is it going to cost to park? Will they serve beer? Things like that.
Those are great questions for Scott. Yes, they'll serve beer.
Right now, we believe parking will be free. In terms of beer, there will be no free beer. I do like beer. To quote Tom T. Hall, it makes me a jolly good fellow, for you country fans there. But yes, there'll be full concessions, and nachos and hot dogs and kids, pop and anything else. Maybe hard-boiled eggs since we're Thunderbirds.
People are also asking if there's any affiliation with other teams, like I guess the
Not at this juncture. There won't be. If Carolina would like to send us, if the Hurricanes would like to send down a couple guys, absolutely. Might have an issue with some salary cap, but I'll figure out a way around it unofficially.
What's the average age of these FHL players?
Probably 24.
Yeah, in the 20s. Question was asked earlier, where do we get the players? No different than the NHL or the AHL. We get them from college. We get them from the juniors. They might be playing on another team right now. So that's primarily where we're getting our players and how old they are. You'll see some of the guys a little bit older nowadays. I'm seeing some 30-year-olds, even older. This is a league of prospects. After a certain time, you're no longer a prospect. In my world, on my teams, I want you to be a prospect or be one of a handful that's a fan favorite, which is why you're here. Otherwise, it's time for you to, hang them up and get on with whatever, your life is.
Mostly Americans, or?
No, I don't, half. I mean, I think every team last year had, I would say every team had at least 7 or 8 visaed players. A question I can follow up over there, will you have affiliations? When you're dealing with immigration, one of the criterias is immigration or affiliations so that you can deal with the immigration stuff, which that immigration changes every year. I remember, I think it was our second year, I actually went to bring a band. My wife and I were on a cruise. We saw a band on the cruise, and I went to bring them in to play at one of our games, and there were no more visas. And I go, really? Not a hockey player? No. When you run out of visas, it doesn't matter if you're a hockey player or anything else. Again, it's been said a few times, we're Hawk fans. The Hawks traded for somebody last year. He couldn't play with them for a matter of time because he did not have his immigration set up right, or however that worked. So, you know, that's really important. I want the best talent on the ice. I bleed red, white, and blue. But if there's a visa player who my coaches want and think that he's better for our organization, I won't stand in the way.
We're hopeful that the wall doesn't get built before the season. That way we'll have a way to get players up.
Right, wrong word.
Oh,
He's geographically challenged.
yeah.
too.
I was a sports referee and played, so I got some issues still. Yes, sir.
Are you gonna have any season ticket deals or any kind of bundles?
We absolutely have season ticket deals. They're available right here, and they'll start as high as $420 for on the glass, and maybe as low as $190. But the thing I want to tell season ticket holders is we're building value. I mean, you're going to be treated like you should be. Season ticket holders should be treated the best. That means you're going to get all the guaranteed free stuff. You're going to get gifts from us 6 times a year. You're going to be. It's the one thing that I have noticed that some teams will say, hey, be a season ticket holder, and then they'll turn around and say the first 300 people through the door get a poster. Why wouldn't the season ticket holders get that poster first? You're the ones investing in us. So that's our value. That's our attitude towards season ticket holders. Yes, ma'am.
On here, it's showing that the end's not open. Is that not going to be open?
At this point, we still have to do some checking in terms of we're not sure the bleachers work correctly.
So if we pick seats that were on the side and then they open, can we switch?
Absolutely.
Because that's the area we like.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. We want to, we have to run a business, but our business is keeping the fans happy. So we're going to do everything we can to, some things we're just not going to be able to do. I don't think the Jumbotron will be ready, in 2 seasons, but we're going to absolutely, try and meet everybody's wants.
For those that aren't familiar with hockey necessarily, but maybe are interested in seeing hockey live, explain the Federal League, who it is, what it is, what's the, makeup of it.
Well, as we said, the Federal League's now in its 7th year, and there's been a lot of hockey startup leagues. If a league goes past 3 years, then it's something you need to start looking at. The Federal League has looked at it. What it did is it filled a niche in this country with cities like Winston-Salem, with cities like Port Huron, with cities like Danbury, Connecticut, who have Watertown, New York, who have 15 to 2,000 people, or even less, 1,000 people to come up and enjoy hockey. And what's happened is budgets have spun out of control because I think the NHL's the NHL, the American League's the American League. Then you got the ECHL. Well, the ECHL has to go into markets. Their budgets are dramatically high, and they just don't work in markets like Winston-Salem and some of the other places, and so they got to pick the cities. Well, then after that, you've got possibly the Southern Pro Hockey League, and they're in some markets, and they're down in this little pocket. So the Federal League was born to help those markets. In terms of the hockey you're going to see, I'd be lying if I tell you that we got a chance against the Carolina Thunderbirds when we get a team on the ice, or against the Carolina Hurricanes. But I will tell you, you're going to see entertainment. You're going to see kids out there who play because they love the game. There is nobody going to be on the ice playing for the Thunderbirds that's playing for a paycheck. They're paying because they love the game. They want to be here. They want to get their last opportunity to develop and move up. And so that's what you're going to see. And to be honest with you, I think the product at the lower level, when you got hungry players, that the best thing to say about the Federal League, it's a great league to be from. And I used to say that I was with the USHL, which is a Tier 1 junior league, and I consider it one of the top leagues in the country. The best thing you can say about the USHL, it's a great league to be from. We're here to develop them and move them on. Yes, we want our hometown heroes. We'd like a couple veterans that stick around, but we'd like to see nothing more than a young man come here, get an opportunity to move up, go from here to a ECHL team, and then, you know, to maybe Charlotte, and then who knows, one day over to Raleigh. Our website should be turned on. I just sent a text message, I'm hoping. CarolinaThunderbirds.com, we hope is on, or will be. Our Facebook is Carolina T-Birds. Our Twitter is Carolina T-Birds. And our Instagram will be Carolina T-Birds. Again, we really appreciate you coming out, and thank you very much.